say good morning once again to our co-host. He is a retired admiral, former president of the Berkeley County Commission, not afraid to grab a chainsaw and chop down a tree that fell on his road. Good morning, Mr. Stubblefield.
Good morning, Rob. Fortunately, no trees are down this morning. They were the other night.
You had one last week, right?
Yeah.
Came down?
Well, I've had 3 big trees fall down the last couple of weeks.
Get out the chainsaw and chop them up, Bill.
That's right. Got to have a fresh chainsaw.
Got that firewood ready for the winter.
Sharp.
A lot of storms. A lot of storms keep you busy.
Also, Maria Lawrenson, good morning, former editor of the Journal.
Good morning. Happy to be here.
Hospice of the Panhandle. Via telephone, the House Majority Leader, Delegate Patrick McGeehan. Good morning, Patrick. How are you, sir?
Hey, Rob. I'm doing pretty good. Staring at my great view of my front porch window here at the entire Ohio Valley and the river and the great view of our Chester Bridge here. So it's a beautiful day of blue sky.
That's right. You've got some waterfront property now.
Good.
Right? You got the waterfront property?
Yeah. My daughter loves it. The worst part about it was hauling 4,000 or so books from my old place, which seemingly all of my friends had other things to do that day. But
4,000 books.
Anyway.
How many of those books are on philosophy?
Probably half of them. I mean, I've got, genre. I got poetry. I got history. Obviously, a lot of history books. Science, and so I kind of, like it. So I don't ever have to obviously go to a library when I'm, in the middle of this dissertation over the summer. I just reference certain things that I have over the years.
Yeah.
And I inherited a lot of. Well, not a lot. I inherited part of my dad's library, and so he had his own library. So. But they pile up pretty quickly, especially over the last 4 or 5 years when you're ordering, you're spending $300 or $400 a month on books from Amazon.
A lot of cardboard.
Which is like my only vice, it's what I tell my mom, I don't, it's like next to my daughter, it's my most precious asset is my library, so.
That's cool. What year did you graduate from the U.S. Air Force Academy, Patrick?
2003, strong and mighty.
2003.
So,
did they do reunions?
I did. I went to my 20th reunion 2 years ago, and I can't believe I'm saying that. 20 years, Jesus Christ. I mean, drove out there, and I don't know why I decided to drive out there, but
it's Colorado.
Yeah. Well, I got a speeding ticket in the middle of nowhere, Kansas. You drive through Kansas 6 hours on I-70, and you get excited when you get to turn the wheel a little bit, right?
Sure.
And there ain't nothing out there. And I was going 10 over, and there was just some county mountie hiding, in some bushes, basically in the middle of nowhere. There wasn't even cars around. So I got pulled over and got, Anyway, it was good, It felt good to be back. So,
sounds like it, yeah.
Yeah, other than that.
All right, hey, let's get into, I want to get into this thing here with Delegate Ian Masters as the House Majority Leader. I know there's been some conversations that have happened between the Speaker and Delegate Masters and you and Delegate Masters, and it all is around a comment on Instagram regarding Dave Portnoy. Now, Ian has agreed to join us tomorrow morning, by the way, at 8:05. He'll lead off the show with us.
Okay.
The comment about Dave Portnoy, founder of Barstool Sports, from an account linked to Ian Masters. The comment read, "Portnoy is not white. He's a Jew. We never claimed them. That's why he's short, tiny, and weak." And then this quote got then sent around. Ultimately, West Virginia Watch did a very long story on this, and that tied it to Ian Masters and to a cell phone number associated with Ian Masters and an account that ties into the West Virginia CDL, which Ian used to be in charge of as well before he became a delegate. And I know you've had conversations with Ian about this as well. Some have called for his resignation out of the House. What do you know about this situation, and what was the conversation like between the Speaker, you, and Ian?
Well, I mean, I got that. I don't read any of those journalists at all, and I don't talk to them. But I got it sent to me, I think Tuesday night when it got published, and so we were all, as a legislative body, at interim meetings, which were held off-site at Stonewall Jackson Park there that weekend.
And Pat, before you go any further, let me also say that Ian has denied making these comments, strongly denied making these comments, and that this was an account that he was actually the person using. Go right ahead, sir.
Yeah, no, and he didn't. I think he didn't make those that comment you're referring to. I've known Ian now for a long time, and he's the kind of guy that when he tells you something, he lives up to it and comes through. And but God bless his soul, he's also just this kind-hearted man. Ian actually Ian and his family grew up in my hometown in Chester. His youngest brother went to school with my younger brother and sister, and they lived a few blocks down the road from my family. Ian met his wife in college at WVU, and she's from the Eastern Panhandle, so they settled over your way. But of course, Ian comes and visits family here in Hancock County pretty routinely. But sometime last year, this is after multiple conversations about this, because Ian was struggling to figure out how this happened. And I looked at the syntax on that comment first off, and then measure it against the way he writes typically, the phrases he uses, and, none of it matches up. And so, that right off the bat told me, okay, something's going on here. And Ian, was just beside himself. I talked to him about 10 p.m. That Tuesday night, because most of us were driving home from the interim sessions at Stonewall on Tuesday, and he was driving home with his family, his wife, and one of his babies that they brought with him to Stonewall, and he was with us all, and that comment, I believe, that's under scrutiny there, was made on that Saturday, so a week ago Saturday, and so we were all Stonewall then. But anyway, sometime last year, Ian was visiting family here in Hancock County. He ran into this younger guy who had been friends with Ian's younger brother, Alan. This younger guy, who, by the way, I've met with in person. He's from Hancock County. I know this younger guy's family. I didn't know him well, but I knew his older brother, and his family's, good family. But this younger guy has some sort of disease. He's, I'm not going to get into what kind of disease, but it's probably going to kill him eventually. He's suffered for years now from not only that, but he's addicted to narcotics and painkillers to deal with this disease for many years. In fact, when I met with him, he looks terrible. He's basically homeless now. He's bouncing around, living with relatives. I think he lives with his mother right now.
What's this guy's connection to the comments, Pat?
Well, I'm getting to that. This younger kid was friends with Ian's little brother, Alan, and that's one reason I'm sure Ian helped him out last year after this kid got out of a coma. Ian was in town, and he gave resources to him. He gave him money. He gave him his old iPhone, which didn't have any cellular service, but you could work it with Wi-Fi or whatever, and then helped him get into rehab last year from the painkillers while he was in town with the money. And this was after last year. This guy had just came out of before this. A 57-day coma and nearly died from a series of infections. So this is the guy that did it. I met with him, and we were able to deduce this by looking at the account. There was a notification that triggered basically some sort of foreign device login. I can't remember the correct technical term. It's basically recognizing an undetected device that logged in. And so, I met with this younger gentleman I'm telling you about in person, just to kind of grill him a little bit. And I feel bad for the kid. He's very thin. He's toothpick thin. He's beyond the addiction to just narcotic pain pills. He suffers from mental depression as well. He's apparently on medication for that as well. And all I have to say is, I met with this guy in person for about an hour. He told me he's the one that made this out of the blue comment in question here from a couple weeks ago, along with some other things, because he got out of the hospital, his latest stay at a hospital, which was, I think, like late May for 6 or 7 days, where they, upped his dosage of fentanyl, OxyContin, and something akin to morphine, along with all sorts of new medications for mental depression. Well, he got out since then, his latest 6 or 7 days stint at this hospital, in one of the local hospitals here. And he's basically homeless. He bounced around the area from one to the next. Lives with his mom right now, unemployed, disabled. And for whatever reason, he's on mental health drugs, and he's on all of these painkillers, and had this old iPhone device as well. I'm scrolling through it, and he just popped open some social media, including the Instagram account, and which was Ian's, was still left on there. Anyway, so that was the phone, checked out, triggered the notification of that unrecognized login. It was the same older phone he had given him with those other things, including money, before he got him into rehab. So, it's unfortunate. I talked with this gentleman, this younger kid, and he just is, he has nothing else to do during the day. So he just scrolls through things, and he's into all these conspiracy theories. He was, during the course of the conversation I had with him in person, I pushed him. I wanted to make sure it was right, but and there's certain things that you can do. I've just learned from my old intelligence days to figure out, you circle back to something and say something a different way to see if they get the same answer or if catch them up in a lie. And he's telling the truth. That's what I determined, and the phones match up. So, I just I don't even think he knew he was on Ian's account. I'm not sure. He just basically popped it open and was just. So anyway.
Well, hang on, Pat, because I think you've established that this is the guy that's confessed to it. Bill Stubblefield has a question for you.
Yeah, Pat.
Sure.
As far as I know, hacking into elected officials' phone is a federal offense. Is the FBI investigating this? If not the FBI, shouldn't someone with more professional credentials be investigating?
No. This is over as far as I'm concerned.
Well, yeah, over as far as you're concerned, but not the general public. We all have a right to know, was this actually an offense, a federal offense that someone hacking done? Or I know you're a strong supporter and a good friend of Ian Masters, but it needs to be taken up one additional step by a professional investigator if this was a federal offense.
Well, I'm going to have to disagree with you. It's over as far as I'm concerned. This is a witch hunt. That's it. There's been no crime committed. All right? Yeah.
There has been. What you're saying, there has been the crime committed. Someone hacked into his phone.
Well, what if Ian gave him the phone voluntarily? Is that still a crime?
He gave him the phone voluntarily.
But the guy The guy took it. Well, yeah. Whether I don't know. I'd still consider that hacking. That's what you're saying. That's what other folks have been saying. That Ian did not make these comments. Someone made the comments. That by definition, that's hacking.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to have to disagree with you. All right. I'm not. There's no federal offense going on here. All right. There's a lot of other things that would go into that, and I'm not going down some sort of witch hunt. All right. I've done due diligence and all this, and look, this is a guy that is probably going to eventually die in the near future, either from the disease he has or from overdosing on the narcotics he's been prescribed to deal with it. All right, and the guy is also probably has some sort of suicidal ideation. All right, and so I'm not getting that involved.
Can I assume the name has not been released of this man, Pat?
I'm not releasing the name of this kid. I mean, there's no reason for this. All right, that's what's really downright sinister is that the Democrats and these left-wing press outlets have gone also after this profile picture Ian has on his old Instagram account. If you look at that profile picture, there's part of a letter in the background you can read which says something like, Dear Ian, it's the top. And then there's some cords hanging with some symbols, and in the middle of this, you can make out a pair of dog tags. Well, this was a homage to Ian's little brother, Alan. The letter was written to Ian from his younger brother, Alan, right before Alan killed himself after he got out of the Marine Corps. Blew his brains out back in 2014. And the other decorative pieces are symbols from Scandinavian Norse mythology, because when Ian and his younger brother Alan were growing up as kids, that was something they shared. You know, they read Norse literature like Beowulf and things of that nature, because they come from a Scandinavian heritage. Much the same way I have Irish heritage and like studying about, my Celtic ancestors. Well, immediately these people and these media groups and, of course, the Democratic victim class began attacking Ian because of these Scandinavian sort of ancestral heritage symbols that are on coat of arms and things like that from the medieval days. They attacked him and his dead brother, basically attacked him as being a Nazi, a white supremacist, a fascist, you name it, because, of course he is. That's what really bothered Ian. And because, I remember the day when his little brother killed himself, and it was a tragic day for the entire community here. Everyone loved Alan. But these shameless politicians and journalists, they could care less about that. Ian is the one that deserves a public apology from these journalists and these politicians who peddled these lies. And these politicians that did this, okay, they're the ones that ought to resign from the legislature, because these people who fed these journalists this information merely to attack a good man. So let's get off the witch hunt. We need to get like the FBI involved with some sort of digital forensics. Give me a break, all right? I looked into it. This is the truth. Everything matches up. I grilled this guy. I grilled, several others. So move on from here, all right? If you want to scrutinize people, and put on the spot and condemn, the people who have made these accusations like this over and over again with no regard to the truth, those are the people that you should be putting on under the scrutiny, because they don't want their so-called facts. They don't want justice. That is just a disguise for their power play. Left-wing politicians and their allies in the press use this ideology of perpetual victimhood to inflict pain and damage reputations. It's just a power play. It's about control. It's about power. It's done under the pretense of victimhood. They do it in this passive-aggressive way that's dressed up in moral language. Now, most of these journalists reporting these things are just taking cues from either.
Pat, hold on. Maria's got a question for you. You're going down a rabbit hole we'll never get you out of.
Yeah, no, just so you're asking, Pat, just let it die, be done with it. Is the Democratic Party going to let it die?
I don't care. Don't care. They have no authority in this matter, So I don't care, because you know what I've learned over the years is you can't take them at face value. They are not honest brokers. They don't operate in good faith. That's what I was getting to here. You know, that's the key. You know, I mean, you know, anybody that's been paying attention in politics over the last several years, you know, realizes that these power plays are simply, basically simply to demonize their opponents. All right, regardless of the truth. Right? I mean, it's this sort of passive aggressive way to basically attack reputations. And you know what? You know, the only
30 seconds.
I guess I would say the one outcome of this that's really unfortunate is, you know, this whole destructive enterprise has really helped cause these words that are used like racism or Nazism or things like that. There's no more identifiable definition of these words. And that's the sad thing, right? Because it's been used so much.
Pat, on that note, I am out of time.
Content's done.
Thank you for yours, and enjoy your water
man.
view today.
Yeah, take it easy. God bless you guys.
House Majority Leader Patrick McGeehan, and we take our final 2-minute timeout, back with the last minute right after this.